What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So I just wanted to make a real quick video and share with you my extreme angle jig. So a lot of times in trim carpentry you're going to run into angles that your saw just cannot do because it's not capable of it. For example, on my DeWalt right here, I got 50 degrees on the left hand side and 60 degrees over here on the right hand side. Sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes you're going to come across angles that are more extreme than that, and that's where the extreme angle jig comes in. So let's check it out. All right, so you guys have now seen the jig, pretty basic, not much to it, but what it does allow you to accomplish is actually incredible. So let me explain to you how this works. This piece of aluminum right here represents the fence of the miter saw. You can see it has two machine screws, and this is all put together with two machine screws where each piece attaches. So this piece represents the fence. It's got a little T-track screwed into it, and this little T-track will actually drop into the T-slot on the fence. I'll show you that here in a second. Then you've got this little cross member here, and this is at an angle, and then this piece is at an angle. So these two 22.5 degree angles actually make this right here sit at a 45. So when I drop this into my miter saw, so I drop this part into my fence, it now has this cross member holding this new fence at a 45 degree angle. So when I put my material up against this fence, it'll now allow me to cut extreme angles. So let's take a look at it. All right, so here's the fence. If you guys remember, on the back here, there's a little knob. I can loosen that and this little T-track will come out. I can put this off to the side and that'll leave a vacant T-track slot right there where I can drop my extreme angle jig in. And boom, just like that, that easy, I'm ready to start cutting extreme angles. Also, same thing on this side, this will come out, and then with the jig, I can just lift it up, do a flip, and then drop it into that slot. And now we're good to go. So we got our jig set up on the left-hand side here, and I can now use that as my new fence. I'll put my piece of scrap in there. I'm using this piece of picture molding that I had left over. And my saw is locked at 0 degrees. So you can see it down there. The detent is locked at 0 degrees. But if I make this cut, it's obviously not gonna give me just a straight 0 degree cut. Because if I put my blade down and you see my shadow line, you can see that's not 0, obviously. It's a 45 degree cut is what it's gonna give me. So I'll go ahead and make that cut. So there's our 45 degree miter right there. And you say, well, that's not extreme. Any miter saw can do that. And you're right, but here's where it starts to get extreme. As we start to turn the saw more towards the jig, we start to count up. So you can see I'm right there on 5 degrees. So if 0 represents 45, then 5 would represent 50. So this right here is the max that this miter saw can do without this jig. So as I start to turn it to 51, we've now gotten into the extreme territory because I consider anything that the miter saw can't do extreme. So 0 is 45, 5 is 50, 10 is 55, 15 is 60, 20 is 65, and so on and so forth. I think you get the point. All right, so let's go ahead and cut one of these bad boys. I'll cut a 70 degree cut. So I'll lock in at 25 degrees, hold my material up against the fence, and we're good to go. That is a long miter right there. So just for the sake of seeing how long that is, yeah, it's like a 5-inch miter right there. Pretty crazy. We'll go ahead and cut the other side of the miter and we'll see how clean these come together. All right, let's go ahead and see how we did. Just gonna line these up and check them out. That's a pretty clean cut right there. I can't complain about that one. The whistle of approval on this one too. Look at that, pretty sweet. And like I said, that's a 5-inch miter right there. Pretty intense. You can see that sharp turn right there. So you'd need this like on a staircase or some kind of abstract accent wall, or maybe you're tying into some kind of goofy transition. You never know when you're gonna need something like this. And there's been a handful of times when I've needed to make a cut like this, even if it's just a single cut, to like transition into something. And having a jig like that handy is just, I mean, this is a game changer. So pretty sweet. So with our spring clamp holding that in place, I'm just gonna push this Starrett miter finder right around it till it wraps it, and it bottomed out right there. And we are right at 70 degrees. So that is pretty sweet. Everything checks out perfectly. All right, so there you have it, guys, the extreme angle jig. You've now seen it. And if you want to get one of these, I'll leave a link down in the description. You could purchase this fence here. This isn't my product. I get nothing if you purchase this. There's no affiliation whatsoever. The only thing you get for purchasing it is a really sweet fence and jig. So there you go. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. Let me know if you have any questions about this jig. And even if you guys don't get this jig and this system, you can come up with something like this. It's just a straight piece with a 22.5 degree cut right there, and then makes it 45. So, you know, someone out there one day will benefit from this video, and it may be you. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.